Me and you could start an online beef, but...
Do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Start.
We'll start on this video. It's just like you show up late, you want to be good questions, and you just come in here. Oh, I'm Kieran Moore. I show up when I like.
That shot's fired, right? I'm going on your Instagram later and I'm ripping you off.
The thing is with that, though, Rob, that's 100% true. He is just like that. At least he turned up for this interview. Last week he didn't even bother turning up for any of it.
Oh, I was so embarrassed.
This is the Sheer Isolation podcast. It's presented by Kieran Moore and Jon Ponting. So we are into show number 6. Welcome to the Sheer Isolation podcast. It is going well. We're getting into a rhythm, getting into a theme of this. And we both turn up roughly the same time to do these, so that again is a plus.
Roughly the same time. I'm getting slacker and slacker, but yes, roughly.
You were very slack to begin with as well.
I was all right to begin with. How dare you say that? I used to pride myself on being on time for stuff, but not anymore.
That was clearly before I met you.
Yeah, it was. Seriously, I did. I used to get really annoyed if you're late for things. Just like, you can't be late, for example, the cinema, because the film will start. Obviously, you got half an hour of ads, and you're never really late. But yeah, I used to pride myself, but it's just all gone out the window.
Well, for those people who've not joined us on our podcast before, welcome. The Sheer Isolation podcast kind of came about as a way of promoting local music, promoting local venues, and we'll be doing just that later on, where we've got an interview with Rob Dahl from the Cheese and Grain in Frome.
He actually started promoting when he was 16. He was very young. He started promoting before I did, so he's got a few years on me, which I'm immensely jealous by. I'm not, but he's a really, really fantastic guy, and he's like a brother from another mother. So you may have, John, have you seen me do a DJ show with him? Have you seen any of those?
No, I don't think I have. The thing is with the Cheese and Grain, it's quite a way for me to travel.
Of course,
so
it is. You're the other end of the county, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, me and him have done a few DJ shows before, and they're just wild. So he picks the songs, and I just talk rubbish over the top of them.
Just like this.
Just like this.
Indeed. It is time for our first song. And I have got a load of text on my tablet here, because I just copy and pasted a load of stuff about this band, because I thought it was a really interesting story. So what happened back in 1837 over in Stroud? There was a group called the Chartists. I'm just going to read now, otherwise I'm just going to make stuff up. So the Chartists were a 19th century working class movement named after their aims, which were set out in the People's Charter. Chartism gained popular support throughout England and Wales after the 6 points were included in a petition to the House of Commons in early 1837. And the 6 points were a vote for every man over 21, a secret ballot instead of the system for voting in public. MPs do not have to own property, so it was more open to the people. MPs will be paid, equal voting constituencies, and an election every year for Parliament. So they were some of the foundation blocks for building where we are today. And on Selsley Common over in Stroud, there was the Chartists kind of gathered. They managed to gather something like 5,000 people. Now, how they did this before the internet, I do not know. To get 5,000 people together for this kind of protest.
Carrier pigeon.
Yeah, there was a lot of carrier pigeons involved there, wasn't there? Yeah. And that happened on the 21st of May, which is obviously this is the anniversary time. I think it was 1839. Yeah, 21st of May, 1839, this rally happened. This is proper kind of 1970s style punk. And the video was made by a few people. One of them is John Bassett, who's also known as the Spaniel in the Works Theatre Company down in Stroud. And this is their video, which was filmed up on Selsley Common. And the band is called Chinese Burn, and the track is Selsley Common, 21st of May.
is puddling clay. Come Gothamites, have your say. Selsley Common 21st of May. Selsley Common 21st of May. Cross the nation sea with ugly clarity. Neighbours living side by side in obscene polarity. The scholar and the institute with servants, maids and cooks. The squalor of the prostitutes hold districts without books. The governor, the minister, my owner and the judge. The danger fumes, the grime and dust, the cough that just won't budge. From the knolls where the Cotswolds bray, Valley Mills where the yarn fields trays, Ball's green nights last all day. There's a storm heading London's way. Selsley Common 21st of May. The master tycoon, lord and heir, the scheming magistrate. Disaster, typhus and despair, and scrubbing their floors and plates. The property portfolio, a trap set before the Lord. Poverty and polio, a trap set before we're born. Comfort, jollies, insulation, ownership, the vote. Hunger, prison, infant death, deported on the boat. Purple orchids, dazzling sway, no match for this display. Westminster disarray, no pay, no say, no way. Selsley Common 21st of May.
Okay. That was my phone, sorry. I've got
Oh,
very
okay, I
old
was going to move
speakers
my
here.
phone.
Yeah, I've got speakers that pick up mobile phones when they go off.
That's proper old school. I think they thought they invented technology to stop that.
Yeah, I don't have any of that here.
No.
This is what I'm working with. Hang on, let me just show you this. This is my my mini disc rack.
Oh my god!
All my lovely old mini discs.
But the audio quality on them is superior, but nobody ever bought them, did they? I had a friend who was obsessed with mini discs. He had everything on mini disc, and if you look at I think Oasis were one of the big mini disc sellers. If you look, you can buy them, to sell them or buy their mini discs these days, or like on Discogs and so on. It costs a fortune. There wasn't many of them made by comparatively, and because they were so expensive, nobody bought them.
I had, and it's probably still in my loft, an in-car mini disc, a Kenwood in-car mini disc.
Wow.
So when I was off doing radio interviews, I could sit in the car park and I could edit and split tracks. So there we go.
Whilst driving.
Yeah. It was a different time back then. You could mini disc and drive.
Mini disc and Excellent.
Right, time for our interview. So earlier on today, we were having a chat to Rob from the Cheese and Grain, which, as we've already said, it's such a lovely venue and such a unique venue as well, isn't it? You do a lot of work down there.
Well, not as much as Rob. No, it's a venue. It's what's great about it is the building wise is actually the footprint's quite small, but because of the way the building's set out, it's got a really high capacity. So it is truly unique, and it's in the middle of nowhere as well. It's not got any neighbours, so it's almost perfect in almost every way. I can't think of a downside to it. It's really just a sensational venue.
You say that, it's right in the middle of Frome. But I know what you mean, it's surrounded by car parks, isn't it?
Car parks, a river, there is housing, but not close enough for it to be an issue. So yeah, it's really lucky.
And it's got kind of half-metre thick walls, so they don't lose much sound through it.
I went to the Foo Fighters show they had there, and I stood outside and handed out flyers and leaflets. Not a lot still comes out, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. I started off by just asking Rob just what they're doing down there at the moment, considering that they're not able to open.
There's not a whole lot being done. We've postponed most of the shows throughout the summer now. So it's just kind of watching the news as everyone else and getting more and more depressed and drinking all day long. Yeah. I encourage drinking in any way, shape or form. But
are you just raiding the bar? Is that what you're doing?
I bloody wish. Bar's handled by a different guy who's probably raiding it, called Graham Barry. But no, it's a depressing time for everyone. But I think, as we'll probably get into later, for the music industry, it's meant to be the busiest time of the year right now, and I think everyone's kind of at a loss what to do with themselves, because when you're constantly going to shows and not having a social life, and now you can't have a social life for different reasons, it's frustrating, but that's the way of the world.
It is, yeah. I mean, we are just kind of heading into summer now, aren't we? So although the weather doesn't feel like it is supposed to be getting warmer, especially going into festival season. Obviously, you guys get you have events all year round, don't you? But in particular, you do quite a few summer events and kind of get more of a festival vibe going. And obviously, we've kind of lost that for this year.
Yeah, it's weird, because I think kind of the last few holdouts have gone. Reading and Leeds went yesterday or the day before. Slam Dunk, that was moved back to September, has gone as of today. It's a very bizarre world that we're living in, where there's not going to probably be any festivals in the UK at all this year, and that obviously has a knock-on effect for venues and just for the local music scene, because you've got all these small bands working really, really hard to get early slots on these big festivals. And that's going to be deferred a year, and everyone's going to be trying to get on next year because no one's played in so long. It's going to be and that's if we're allowed festivals next year. So it's it's an interesting time, but it's a worrying time for the local scene, the scene in general, and just the world. So it's fun and games. I should be cheery.
That's very true. We need some positivity, don't we? For people who've not been down to the Cheese and Grain, can you kind of explain it? Because it is a unique venue as far as unique venues go. It's got its own particular vibe about it, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're a not-for-profit social enterprise operating as a charity. I've had that line ingrained into my head by my director. It's like, this is what we are. Stop, because I used to misquote it so badly. Which means, so we're kind of more community-based than a lot of venues, because we have charitable objectives, which is to improve the cultural surroundings of the local area. And as a not-for-profit, we're not looking to make money. We invest whatever we make back into the venue. But so we're an 850 capacity music venue, and we've got a 150 capacity bar venue to go alongside it. And we also do lots of weird community things, from kids roller disco to farmers markets to everything in between. So we're a music venue, and we've got a recording studio, and we're a lot of things. It's a lot of fun, and if you haven't been to the Cheese and Grain, I would actively encourage you to come down whenever we're allowed to reopen.
Did you want to take over the interview now, Kieran, since you're here?
Well, I don't take it over per se. I'm just going to say, Rob, how's it going? How's this whole situation treating you?
I mean, it's personally, it's fine. There's a lot worse things happening in the world to people. I shouldn't be moaning. I get to spend more time with my beautiful wife in my new house. So it's on that side, it's good. But from a professional side, it's horrible, and from a world side, it's even worse. But I think everyone's just kind of anxious and kind of, you're a promoter. You work in the music industry. You're not used to not having this much time off or any time off. So
no, I'm finding it really weird too, because I'm struggling to think, when can I start again? I was chatting to you a couple of days ago. We're talking about events that you've got later in the year, and at what point do we? Are you cancelling stuff in segments? Because it's like, we might be a go again in September, although it's highly unlikely. We've got stuff in still at my venue for August. It's like, that's absolutely not going to happen, but we haven't been told yet. It's officially.
Well, that's the thing. I think the minute that you can put on gigs are going to sell ridiculously well. And if you postpone, like we still have a few bits in August as well, because I think if you postpone them and they can happen, you've let people down by doing that. I think it's kind of more, this is changing on a daily basis, and let's be honest, no one knows what's going to happen. So everything's the best guess. But I think the minute the gigs can go on, tickets are going to fly out to everything, and because people are going to want to get out. And if people go, oh, what gigs have you got on in August? Because you're allowed out now, and you go, got some great shows in September.
Yeah, I cancelled them. Yeah.
So you tend to get quite a few big names on down at the Cheese and Grain, don't you? What are the kind of the biggest shows or the most anticipated shows that you've had to get rid of so far this year?
We had a sold-out Leveler show, which was, sad to get rid of. We've had, what else did we have? We had the Jewelers, really great band. The wonderful Martin Kemp has fell by the wayside. What else From the Jam, ex-Jam guys. The Wurzels, the Somerset Legends. Talk about local music scene. They
Yeah,
are,
right. That's like a dream booking.
They are like the OGs of the local music scene.
Damn right.
I'm forgetting. Oh, and Stroud out Joe Wiley concert.
Of course, yeah.
There's so many, and there was like so many we've had lined up that hadn't yet announced. Oh, and Airborne. They're coming over to Australia. That's gone, and they might never come back because they're Australian, and who knows when we're going to let people back in the countries.
That's true.
It's a lot of hard work gone down. It's 6 months of work gone down the drain like that, but it's true for everyone.
Yeah, of course.
The only good thing, talking to a lot of promoters, including Kieran, is when you come back, you're going to have so many gigs lined up. You're going to have such a solid base of, we've got like 200 gigs to fit into 200 days. It's going to be mad when the industry restarts.
It is going to be like that, isn't it? And part of me is excited by what will be this kind of avalanche of it, like cool stuff. But at the same time, I think there's only so much audience, only so much can go around, and potentially a lot of this audience are going to have been on 80% wages for 3, 4, 5 months, so they might not have enough money to spend as well. So I'm a bit conscious about how much. Too much.
It's going to go. I think it's going to go back and forth a bit because you've got people on 80% wages and the money worries, but at the same time, no one can do anything. So I think there's going to be a massive desire that the last thing people are going to want to do is be inside. And obviously, the other thing about the 80% I'm finding is, it sucks, but at the same time, I'm spending a lot less money on going out and stuff. So
I was about to say that, actually. I've spent literally nothing on fuel, not topped my car up yet. So it's like I've saved a fortune on that.
Well, I suppose one of the things about the Cheese and Grain is, as you said, Robert, it's not just a music venue, and you've got a couple of different rooms to play with. But also the fact that you're more of a community hub and you do like daytime things as well. Does that kind of give you a bit more of a? It's difficult to know when we start to ease, but could you see kind of part of the Cheese and Grain opening or parts of the venue coming online before the other bits?
Well, the difficult thing, and I mean, obviously, this is something that's going on in your head all the time, is because we work with a lot of what would be high risk elements. It's going to be quite. I think the opening is going to be very deliberate, and a lot of the stuff that we do is obviously not for profit, and by not for profit means we're spending money on it. So if you don't have that profitability element of it, it's going to be a hard balancing act to get between the two. That obviously we want to be there for the community because that's our job. So it's always at the forefront of our mind to get that out there and reach those elements of the community like we're supposed to. But at the same time, in opening, we don't want to be putting them at risk, and we don't want to be putting the venue at risk by doing it. So like with everyone, it's going to be you keep thinking when we first went into lockdown, it was like, oh, this is going to be 2 weeks, it'll be fine, we'll be out. And then we're like, oh, it's going to be till the end of April maybe, and now here we are in May going.
Do you think, due to the size, your sheer size, and you have good access and exit from your venue, you could potentially run events on really low capacity, say 50 people?
You could do, but one would, would the gigs lose their atmosphere? Would artists want to play to an 850 capacity room with 50 people spaced out all over the place? It's sure. Well, I think in places like America and certain places in Europe, they're doing 25% capacity, aren't they?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
For it, which would be interesting. And the only good thing about us being so far behind everyone is we can kind of copy everyone else's homework.
Yes, of course.
Them and what hasn't worked for them, and then maybe take it from there, because the UK isn't the only place which has great music venues that struggling right now, and highlight that because you kind of live in this bubble when you're in the local music scene where you kind of worry about what's on your front door, and I think that was really good. Frank Turner with his venues thing, he did one for a club in Germany, and you kind of go, oh, of course there's other places that kind of need help as well. But at the same time, it's also really important to kind of follow, I think, what other places do, and then you can kind of copy them and go, because Germany might try it, or America, I think in Florida, they're doing things with 25% capacity. And if it doesn't work there, then you go, well, actually, maybe not. And
yeah, that's true.
This whole thing coming out about, when you have gigs, you can't mosh, you can't, stand in front or anything. Yeah. So it's like, well, that's great in principle, but policing these things are going to be completely
impossible. Yeah. But I'm finding with Music Venue Trust and the work that they're doing that I've never felt so more in the loop with other venues than before. There's so much conversation happening. And now, people have added me on Facebook. I'm friends with lots of other venue owners that I previously weren't. And it's kind of brought us as a community together a bit better, I would say. And you were going back to what you were just saying then. If the lockdown is then released slowly, we might well be the fact that we all do the same thing at the same time. So it's not different people doing different things. And there is this unified approach, perhaps. That would be good.
It all would be one. I mean, the Venues Trust, you can't speak more highly of them. They're a wonderful, wonderful organisation, and the work that they do there is, between Mark, Bevan, and the whole team is ridiculous. And the fact that Mark runs a venue as well and finds the time to do all this, it's
how does he do it?
I struggle to find to contemplate how I could do it for a day what he does.
For people who want to make a note of the venue, you haven't been there before, what's the best way of keeping tabs on you? I
would say, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, go to cheeseandgrain.com and sign up to our mailing list, and, keep track of it. I would say, I want you to follow the Cheese and Grain, but obviously keep track of all the local venues. They're all brilliant in this area. And, everyone caters for pretty much everything here. So it would be good to just support local music all over, but especially the Cheese and Grain. But,
Well, I know Rob occasionally. I know what he has done in the past. He's got he's linked up an Xbox to the giant screen they've got there. And they've just done like Mario Kart, but on like a 6 meter by sort of 4 meter wide screen. So just doing giant computer gaming. I'm pretty sure that's all he's doing, really. But whatever he says, it's not true. He's just playing computer games down there.
Like a Ryan. Kieran, are you playing with your new tech today? You said you were going to plug your interface in.
I was going to plug my interface in, and then just before this all kicked off, my daughter had a tantrum and I didn't get a chance to get it out of the box. What I'm hoping to do is go back into recording all my shows, because I used to record all the gigs, and as the technology on the laptops increased and advanced, my old analog desk, I couldn't plug it in anymore, so it didn't become compatible. So there was a period of I don't know what year it was, a few years ago now, 2010 to 2014, for example, I don't know, whatever it was. I recorded a whole bunch of shows. And in fact, we've just stuck one of those live shows actually up on our Bandcamp by a chap called Mark McCabe. So we've now got a 5 or 6 song set from Mark McCabe on our Bandcamp. And the money any money raised from it is going to go to MVT to support MVT. What we're hoping to do over the next few weeks is release a whole bunch more of these audios, of these live shows from other people like Chris TT, Tellison, Mr. B, Reimer, and a whole Dave McPherson, and a whole bunch of others that are out there. And hopefully raise a little bit of money for Music Venues Trust. So
cool.
I wasn't planning on bigging that up, John, but there it is.
There we go. For those who aren't familiar with Music Venues Trust, just watch back a couple of our shows. The last couple of guests have chatted about it.
Yeah.
Time for another track, I think, Kieran. Over to you.
Right. This time I have picked Your Codenameis Milo track, going back to the fact that they're doing an MVT show for the Cluny in Newcastle. And we're going to start with their first single video called All Roads Lead to Fault, which is quite a good name because that's what the name of my festival was at the Cheese and Grain, was called All Roads Lead to Frome. Hey. So nice little link there. But that was, so this is going to be Your Codenameis Milo, All Roads Lead to Fault.
Cool. Do you know, whenever I'm going to say Frome, I do have to slow down and just remember the pronunciation and get it correct. And then the way I remember it in my brain is that it's Frome, 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 shake the room.
Frome, 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 shake the room. Dave McPherson.
which Dave McPherson sung one time. Didn't Rob Lear do it as well, I think? But
I hope he did. He did. He's a great guy as well. I don't specifically remember, but you might well have done.
Yeah. But that's how I remember it. It's always got to be Frome.
There's got to be Frome. Well, actually, John, I've got a last little bit of interesting news.
Oh, go on,
this is sort of breaking news, as it were. But just this week or last week, I've been added to the committee of the Village Pump in Trowbridge. So I'm now an official committee member. And for anybody out there who knows and loves the Village Pump, it's run by a very small group of people who've been into their folk for many, many years. Rosie and a few others, and Pete and that. And they've been doing it so long, they're looking for fresh blood, and I happen to stand up and say, look, I'd love to be involved, I'd love to help with the bookings, etc. And so I've been added to the committee, and there's stuff happening behind the scenes that hopefully in the next coming weeks, as clarity comes through, what I'm going to hopefully try and achieve, I'll be able to share it with you. It's all terribly exciting.
It's going to be an exciting year for you, isn't it? If that all goes ahead.
2021 is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
2020 is going to be rubbish.
Yeah, just thinking about gigs that are happening at the minute. So this week I was due to go see Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties. They were supposed to be playing at the Fleece in Bristol. They've reorganised for the end of August, and I don't know if even that's going to happen.
I don't think it is. Reading Festival's just been cancelled, hasn't it? This last week they've pulled Reading Festival, and that's the last weekend in August. So if that's going,
that's around the same time, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So it's the bank holiday weekend. So if that's going, I can't see other venues going ahead.
Well, since we can't get out and about, we're just going to keep doing this podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
And bring music to you that way.
Absolutely. Every week until this is all finished.
And probably as it continues as well.
I'm hoping so, yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to have a catch-up once a week, isn't it?
It's brilliant. It's really helpful for me and really cathartic. And it's a way, and it's another platform of talking about stuff and getting all those thoughts in your head out so that you don't have to write blogs constantly.
And you do have a lot of thoughts in your head. So
I got a lot of thoughts in my head.
Good to get them out. For any local musicians who want to share a bit of news or any events or any videos they want to feature, the email address is sheerisolation@gmail.com. So send that any details you got over to us.
More the merrier. Do get in touch with us, please.
Indeed. Right, I think we've got ourselves another podcast there. So thank you to everybody who's continuing to listen and give us nice feedback. It is lovely to hear. Or
Clark Kent,
Superman.
Clark Kent, Superman. Clark Kent, Superman. How could they not tell? It was just a pair of glasses.
And kind of the lycra suit as well.
Oh yeah, of course. The suit and the lycra pants.
It wasn't just the glasses, was it?
It wasn't just the glasses.
That'd be crazy.
Unfortunately, if I rip this off, I don't have a lycra suit underneath. So.
Well, that's what you're saying.
I'm just getting that middle-aged spread where I'm no longer a postie. Right, John.
Right, yes. We should leave it there.
Got it in the can.
It has been lovely as always. Speak to you all next week.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. Ciao.
See you later. Bye.